So I'm going to start by using the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer, and I'm just going to use the duck foot applicator to put it all over my face. And I find that using mineral products before your foundation and concealer helps it to be more blendable and look more natural. This primer also just feels really clean, and so I think it's going to help with my confidence in covering up my acne. And then I'm just going to use kind of my knuckles to blend it into my face because it doesn't make as much oil as my palms or the tips of my fingers, and so I find that that is a good safe way to rub in the primer when I'm worried about oil and dirt filling up my pores and just making these breakouts worse. And if you use your primer, you can feel that it makes your skin feel super velvety and smooth, which is always great. Next, I'm going to go in with this e.l.f. Zit Zapping Concealer. I'm not sure what's in this concealer that makes it zit zapping, but it is green, which will always cancel out red, and it does feel really clean and smell really clean, which is always a plus when you're worried about acne and blemishes on your face. And so I just take the smallest amount, and it's got this little twist up thing where the product comes out of this little soft tip, which I don't really like, but I put it on these nasty guys on my face, causing lots of redness, in just the tiniest amount. And what I really like about this concealer is that it's really thick, and in my opinion, the thickness of the product actually kind of flattens out the convex of the zit, because as you know, you can always cover up the redness, but you can't cover up a bump. But I feel that this kind of helps. And I'm just covering up these weird patchy, itchy areas I have, which I think are happening because the season's starting to change. My skin always changes when the seasons start to change. Like if you have the same problem. So as you can see, a lot of the redness is already canceled out when you look into the camera. I'm not worrying about areas with like little bits of redness because we deal with that on a daily basis. We're just worrying about those big, ugly blemishes. So next I'm going to take this Almay Clear Complexion Blemish Heal makeup. It just says makeup, but it's foundation in Ivory, which is number 100. I'm just going to take it onto the back of my hand, just a tiniest little amount, and kind of spread it around, because I find that if you get a huge blob on the back of your hand and then dip your brush into it, it kind of ruins the brush and makes you have to clean it more often, because it makes the hairs stick together and it gets deeper down into the brush and just makes it harder to clean in the long run. So I just take the littlest amount and start with that. I have pretty much kind of like a brand new foundation routine than the original one I posted. So if you'd like me to make a new one, kind of updated, and it's better, I promise, then I would absolutely love to do that. So let me know in the comments below. So when I go over the areas with the green concealer, I push kind of hard so that it packs the concealer into my pores, because this is a zit zapping concealer, hopefully. So hopefully it won't cause too much damage in the pores. And this is what I like to call my base layer. And it's pretty much where I don't worry about coverage as much as making, like, sort of priming my face with foundation, kind of. So that when I actually go in with layers for the purpose of coverage, it's a lot more blendable and natural looking. And I am sorry, because this kind of routine for covering up blemishes really only works for super pale girls, specifically this specific green concealer. There is a NYX one that is not as thick and not as green pigmented that would work better for darker skin girls, but like just a super green thick concealer like this would look really wrong on a darker skin girl, because it blends in with a paler foundation, but otherwise it would just look kind of like a ridiculous light spot. And when I go for those weird itchy patchy red areas, pressing works really, really well rather than rubbing, because rubbing can kind of irritate it, but pressing just pushes it into like all those little kind of, you know what I'm talking about, like scratchy, patchy little spots like grass or something, I don't know, and just does a good job of covering it. And I love this foundation because it's got the coverage, it's got the thickness, it's got the like sort of comfortable, clean feeling of a non-comedogenic foundation, which is great if you're just having breakouts, because really no one likes to feel like they're just dirtying up their pores when they've got a lot of breakouts. So now I'm just going to start swirling on more foundation. And because I've got so many breakouts, it's going to end up being 3 layers of the same foundation. I would never layer like several full coverage foundations. And honestly, this doesn't say what kind of coverage it has, but I find that it has pretty full coverage for something that's meant to, you know, heal blemishes, and it's so cheap at the drugstore. So as you can see, I'll initially either wipe back and forth, I'll wipe downwards, or I'll wipe in circular motions. Not wipe, I guess I should just say blend. And then I'll tap, because this brush is really nice because the hairs are so soft but dense that just kind of packing kind of does the job of a beauty blender and does a really good job of just giving it a natural and clean finish rather than looking cakey or carpety, as I like to say. And I know I'm looking super, super white on the camera, almost like I'm putting on like a white cream makeup or something, but this foundation color specifically is actually really natural and does not look this white in real life, and it's just perfect for a really fair porcelain complexion like I have. By the way, I just want to take this time to say that I realize that, like, since my brow tutorial, this is the first time, I think this is the first time I've been, like, browless on my channel. And yeah, I have no brows, and that is by choice, because honestly, I don't, like, when I go out in public without makeup on, I don't, like, feel any grief, I guess. And so I don't care that I have a lack of eyebrows in real life. I just think it makes them easier to draw on in the shape that I want, and I'm by far, like, not an eyebrow technician in any way, shape, or form. This is just how I like them, and yeah, it's an unpopular opinion. And then, since these blemishes are so bad, I'm going to go in with NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the color Vanilla. They have a lighter one that's not available at Sephora that I'd much rather have for my under eyes, but this is perfect in my case for covering blemishes on the face. And so I'm just going to dot that all over these horrible problem areas. And I like to get in these corners of my nose where things often crease and get gross, and then around my lips where I have just weird bumpiness all the time. I don't really know. Yeah. And this is just going to add that last layer of coverage to make even the ickiest of zitty faces flawless. And then I just go in with any concealer brush. This happens to be the Sigma F70, and I just pat those out a little bit just so they're not like clumpy, I guess. And next, of course, I'm going to set some areas of my face. I don't need to set all of them because I don't really get oily. I actually have super dry skin. So you might need to just get a big fluffy brush and set your whole face if you are oily and need to mattify yourself. So I'm just using this Japonesque brush. I think it's probably for highlighting or concealer or something, but I just really like it for setting the areas where I actually put concealer, including under my eyes, but that obviously comes later. This is a foundation tutorial. And so I'm just taking this Avon Translucent Glow Mineral Powder and just setting where I put concealer over my blemishes. And it is just gonna finish off the flawless look. And I set this nose area again because it will just crease. Even when I set it, it'll crease. So if you have any recommendations to keep that from happening in this like under nose crevice area, please let me know. And that is it, guys. You have your flawless face when you are plagued by disgusting breakouts. So here it is. Just always make sure you start with the cleansed and moisturized face. And yeah, so let's move on to the eyes. Creating the glossiest eyes you've ever seen. So first I'm going to start with the Lorac Behind the Scenes Eye Primer. And I'm just going to pat that all over my eyes and melt it in with the tips of my fingers. And then I'm going to go in with Makeup Geek Peach Smoothie. Ah, the best color in the world for transitioning on the Sigma E40. And I'm just going to buff that into the crease. And the important thing with this is to focus just as much on the inner corner as in the outer corner. And if you watch, you'll see I really focus it on that inner corner because we're going to emphasize the roundness of the eyes. And then I'm taking Makeup Geek Mango Tango on this little, oh, it's just like a orangey red matte color on this little e.l.f. contouring brush. And I'm just going to buff that into the crease using the same motions, just keeping it slightly under Peach Smoothie. And again, inner corner and outer corner. We're focusing that on both. And then I'm just going to go back in with the Sigma E40 and blend those together. Blend, blend, blend. And then I'm going to take Sigma Reveal, and you can see I had like a depotting accident, but it's just a nice shimmery coppery shade. And I'm going to take that on this little Japonesque fluffy, and I'm just going to do the exact same thing I did with Mango Tango and Peach Smoothie, just in a smaller area, more concentrated. And I kind of focus it on the outer and then inner corner, and then connect them afterwards in the crease. And then I'm going to take Makeup Geek Bitten, which is just a beautiful matte burgundy. My favorite color ever and the highlight of this look, on this little Sigma Ecotools blending brush, and I'm going to do the same thing except in an even smaller and more concentrated area. And I'm just going to do it on the inner and outer corners and then connect them as I did with Sigma Reveal. And I just blend this a lot until so that all these sort of reddish and oranges and coppery shades blend together, just to make this really pretty sultry, glossy, smoky, round eye shape in the crease. And I'm just leaving that lid part that is still my regular skin color blank for now. And I just blend and blend and blend with the E40. And then I'm taking Magic Mushroom, which is a shimmery pinky champagne by Too Faced. And I'm just taking the Sigma E55 and packing that onto the lid and then blending it just a little bit. That's an easy step. And then I'm taking Aspen Summit it's just a Sephora eyeshadow and it's just a shimmery white. And I'm going to highlight my brows just with this little Ulta Filbert brush and the inner corners. And I'm just making that inner corner highlight pretty pigmented. And then I'm concealing my under eyes using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Vanilla and the same Japonesque brush I used on my face. And this is just really good for patting it out and sort of blending in that concealer and making it super seamless with my foundation and lightening up my under eyes. And then I'm taking this little mini version of the Sigma E55 by Ecotools with Bitten, and I'm just haphazardly throwing that under the bottom lash line. And then a little bit of Mango Tango on a clean blending brush, and then a little bit of Peach Smoothie on another blending brush, and I'm just diffusing that Bitten and making it all great. And then Inglot number 77 gel liner, aka the best gel liner ever. And I'm gonna make a gel liner tutorial, so you don't really need to see this, but I'm just making a little wing. And this is just gonna keep the look from looking like sickly. And then I'm taking this little Makeup Forever Smoky Extravagant mascara on my top and bottom lashes just to make them dark and spidery. And I got like some weird lighting with the sun starting to set, and so that's why the lighting's gonna start looking kind of weird. And then I'm popping on some lashes. These are Ardell 120s. And I'm taking the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in Zurich, which is like a really pretty darkish pinky mauve nude. And that is it, you guys.